Before bonfires, before beast hunts, FromSoftware built a war machine powered by nostalgia. Another Century's Episode, or AC, was a PlayStation 2 exclusive released in 2005 that merged high-speed mech combat with a stacked lineup of anime legends. FromSoftware was best known for its Armored Core series, a hardcore mecha action franchise that had carved out a loyal, if niche, fanbase since 1997. By the time the PlayStation 2 era rolled around, Armored Core 3, Silent Line, and Nexus were in full swing. Meanwhile, Banpresto was dominating with Super Robot Wars, a massive crossover strategy series that fused characters and mobile suits from classic mecha anime like Gundam, Macross, and Dunbine. So what happens when you take FromSoftware's real-time action and Banpresto's crossover universe? You get another Century's Episode. The game was co-developed with Banpresto, the studio behind Super Robot Wars. One side brought speed and systems. The other brought the anime gods. That fusion created something few studios ever risk: a fully playable multi-IP anime war zone. It didn't just honor fandom, it weaponized it. Before Dark Souls became a genre, FromSoftware was already building brutal, deeply technical games. Throughout the PS1 and PS2 eras, they became known for Armored Core, a series that treated mechs like chess pieces and built a cult following on precise movement and player expression. But here's what most people forget: FromSoft was constantly experimenting. Between King's Field, Otogi, and Frame Gride, the studio was testing myth, motion, and mood years before Souls-like existed. AC landed during a creative peak, right between Armored Core, Nexus, and Ninebreaker. The studio was agile, prolific, and hungry to prove they could do more than just bleak machinery. They were builders of systems, not trends. And AC proved that. In the early 2000s, Banpresto had a problem. Their Super Robot Wars series was beloved, but locked into slow, turn-based strategy. Fans wanted spectacle. Something faster. Something you could feel. FromSoftware had the solution. The two studios teamed up to create another Century's Episode, a hybrid action game that played like Zone of the Enders, but with deep legacy roots. Banpresto brought the licenses and anime pedigree. FromSoftware brought the real-time engine, mechanical finesse, and a reputation for pushing hardware. It was a risky collaboration, two radically different design languages, one chaotic goal. But that chaos? It became harmony. It wasn't just crossover content. It was crossover design. The gameplay: Zone of the Enders meets Super Robot Wars. Now imagine this. You're in space piloting the Zeta Gundam, beam sabers out, dodging missile fire while transforming mid-flight into a jet mode. That's the core of another Century's Episode. The gameplay delivered fluid, third-person mecha combat, fast-paced, reactive, and just chaotic enough to feel like real anime action. Lock-ons, dashes, altitude control, dual-weapon loadouts. It was Zone of the Enders with Armored Core precision. Each mobile suit played differently. Some had shields, others relied on transformation, and a few could call in screen-flooding support strikes. It wasn't about balance. It was about variety. You didn't just pick a mech, you picked a playstyle and a philosophy. The anime lineup was stacked. What's better than one iconic robot series? Try 9 of them. Another Century's Episode featured an anime roster so loaded it could have broken licensing law. We're talking Zeta Gundam, Victory Gundam, Brain-Powered, Aura Battler Dunbine, Leisner, Overman King Gainer, Macross Plus, and Heavy Metal L Game. Each brought its own pilots, cutscenes, soundtrack cues, and abilities, all wrapped in new dialogue recorded just for this crossover. It felt like a multiverse you were meant to pilot through, not just observe. This wasn't fan service. It was anime warfare. Every level was like crashing through the finale of 9 different shows. Even the soundtrack was praised. Garnet Moon, the opening theme by pop icon Hitomi Shimatani, was a certified banger of the era. Dramatic vocals. String sections. That classic early 2000s intensity. But the story behind it? Just as powerful. In a pre-release interview with Ite Media, Shimatani called the recording session high tension, and said the atmosphere was electric. She wanted to capture the weight of legendary robots going to war. The result was a theme that elevated ACE from licensed action game to full anime experience. The track charted in Japan. Got a CD single. Fans still remix it today. It was the emotional anchor the game didn't know it needed, until it had it. Most crossover games just smash characters together and call it a day. Not AC. Banpresto went a step further. They wrote a full original story, one that fused the universes of each anime into a single interdimensional war. You weren't just replaying old battles. You were part of a brand new conflict where mobile suits from different timelines collided, and mysterious invaders threatened the fabric of reality. The dialogue was fully voiced. Pilots from rival franchises interacted like they belonged in the same canon. It felt like fanfiction with a budget, and somehow it worked. You weren't a guest in this world, you were the bridge that held it together. Despite being a Japan exclusive, Another Century's episode was a breakout success. It sold over 175,000 copies in its first week, topping PS2 charts and earning praise from players and critics alike. Reviewers compared it favorably to Zone of the Enders, but noted its deeper mechanical variety and more rewarding unlock structure. It wasn't perfect, camera issues and altitude wonkiness were common complaints, but the core gameplay loop was addictive. And unlike most licensed tie-ins, it had replay value. Different suits, branching missions, difficulty scaling, it begged you to come back. During a time when anime games were being pumped out by the dozens, AC stood tall and fast. Even by today's standards, AC was packed with clever design ideas. Boss fights weren't just scaled-up enemies, they were set pieces. Some missions shifted gravity mid-battle. Others dropped you into collapsing space stations or meteor fields. Each anime series had mission-specific perks. Macross units got missile swarms. Gundams had beam counters. Aura battlers could literally phase through terrain. Then there were the support call-ins, which let iconic characters assist you mid-fight, often with voice-acted banter. These weren't just bells and whistles, they were layered gameplay systems tied to lore. You didn't just play your favorite mecha from your favorite series, you played to get better. And learn how to pilot your mech. These days anime games seem to always have something missing. We don't get major collaborations like this for anime titles anymore. The ACE series wasn't completely left to die, but it's not actually a happy ending. Trust me, we'll get to that soon enough. In the meantime, let us know in the comments which mech you'd want to pilot and see included in a new ACE title. And be sure to hit like if this is your first time hearing about the series. There's a whole dimension of FromSoft history we've barely explored, and it might just be time to bring it back. Because sometimes the games they leave behind are the ones most worth remembering. ACE was directed by Tomohiro Shibuya, with Yui Tanimura credited as a key designer. If those names sound familiar, they should. Both went on to direct entries in the Dark Souls franchise and later contributed to Elden Ring. This wasn't a B-team project. It was a stepping stone. Tanimura's encounter design and Shibuya's pacing fingerprints are all over Another Century's episode, from the intensity of enemy swarms to the cinematic tension of boss entrances. FromSoft didn't just experiment here. They sharpened tools they'd later use to make gaming history. The DNA of Souls was forged long before Fire ever linked. While Souls fans praise FromSoftware's vertical-level design, think Einer Londo or Landel, ACE was already climbing. Many of its missions take place in tiered environments, airships at one level, orbital stations above, war zones below. The player constantly moved between layers of altitude, switching between dogfights and close-range duels mid-mission. One standout mission starts you in a collapsing tower, enemies pouring in from above and below, while your objective shifts dynamically. That kind of vertical chaos was rare in 2005. Even today it's hard to match. Before the lands between stretched outward, ACE stretched upward. With a hit roster, flashy combat, and FromSoft pedigree, why didn't this game ever come west? One word: licensing. Each mech series belonged to a different rights holder. Macross, for example, was caught in international disputes. The tangled mess of IP contracts made localization a nightmare. But there was also the market reality. In 2005, Western audiences weren't ready for multi-IP anime action games. Naruto and Dragon Ball were just starting to gain real mainstream traction. So Banpresto kept it simple: target the diehard Japanese fans and skip the global headache. It wasn't that we ignored ACE, it's that we never had the chance to see it. Another Century's episode didn't end with one game. In fact, it kicked off a full franchise in Japan, with ACE2 2006, ACE3, The Final 2007, and the HD reboot ACER on PS3 in 2010. Each sequel expanded the roster and improved mechanics. ACE2 added new mobility options. ACE3 upped the narrative ambition. By ACR, you were piloting mechs from Evangelion, Code Geass, and Gurren Lagann, all in the same mission. Trust me, these games introduced me to so much anime when I was young, and I can't wait to get into more detail about these games as well. Sadly, none of them ever left Japan. They remained imports. Secret legends among mech fans. This wasn't a one-off experiment, it was a full-blown franchise trapped behind region locks. Underneath the anime skin, ACE was powered by Armored Core tech. FromSoftware reused core systems. Lock-on targeting, vertical thrusters, stamina-based movement, even the mission flow UI. But they added anime flair, faster dash cancels, energy blades, more dramatic camera swings. It was Armored Core reimagined for accessibility and spectacle. What's more, ACE gave FromSoft room to test ideas they'd later refine, like weighty melee combat, directional dodging, and burst movement patterns. You can draw a direct line from ACE to Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, a blend of style and precision. The future of Armored Core was built inside another universe entirely. After ACR, the series went quiet. Banpresto was absorbed into Bandai Namco, and FromSoft began its shift toward Demon's Souls and Dark Souls. But the influence lived on. ACE's sense of scale, of skyboxes filled with war, can be felt in Dark Souls 3's Archdragon Peaks and Elden Ring's Impossible Horizons. Its mix of real-time spectacle and narrative chaos was echoed in Bloodborne's boss transitions and Sekiro's mid-air swordplay. And spiritually, ACE proved FromSoft could blend licensed IPs with original systems, a skill they'd use again in Deracin and other experiments. It died quietly, but its blood still flows through the veins of modern FromSoft. With Armored Core 6 reigniting interest in FromSoftware's mech roots, the question is obvious. Could another Century's episode return? Technically, yes. The combat model is more relevant than ever. The anime market has exploded. And modern licensing has matured, making multi-IP projects easier to navigate than in 2005. FromSoft could partner with Bandai Namco again and bypass regional exclusivity with digital-first distribution. Fans want it. The tech exists. And nostalgia is powerful fuel. A spiritual successor could become the next surprise classic, if someone dares to pilot it. Another Century's episode wasn't just a curiosity, it was a statement. It proved that FromSoftware could take wildly different source material and forge something cohesive, creative, and mechanically sharp. It challenged the idea that anime games had to be turn-based or shallow. And it quietly shaped how FromSoft approached scale, spectacle, and player agency in the years to come. It's a missing chapter in one of gaming's greatest glow-ups, from niche dev to global titan. And like all good chapters, it deserves to be reread. Because every great studio has a forgotten masterpiece. This was FromSoftware's. On a larger scale, you see what happens when you give a powerhouse a budget to work with licenses and some creativity. The PS2 was a perfect moment for easy and affordable game development during an anime and gaming economic boom. There were so many anime games, some hilariously bad and some amazingly well done. It's just not something we see these days. Games are expensive and have hit a roadblock in creativity and collaboration. Before Souls, before Fire, before Elden Rings and Fading Embers, there was a war among stars fought in steel and memory. Another Century's episode. Want more deep dives into FromSoftware's hidden history? Hit subscribe, we're just getting started.